Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the First Lady of West Virginia, Kathy Justice.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here and see everyone today. As I look out into the audience, I see a lot of people that I know and a lot of people that I don't know. So thank you for coming. The Justice family wants to thank everyone for being here. We hope you have a wonderful time while you're here. Our fellow Greenbrier employees are an extended part of our family. So if you'll just say hi to them, they work very hard and take the Greenbrier as really their sincere priority in making it shine. I'm going to introduce someone that you all are probably very, very familiar with. I first met the family when our daughters were playing volleyball several years ago in high school. She and her husband both were at every volleyball game that Jim and I were at. So besides her full-time job that she traveled everywhere and really promoted the state of West Virginia, they had time for their kids and just did as we all do. You know, we want to do that and include family and everything. This lady has really made West Virginia shine. It's moving forward. She's doing all kinds of great things. We have national parks and everything. And I'd like to present my good friend, Shelley Moore Capito.
Hello. Hi, everybody. It's wonderful for everybody. What a wonderful crowd. This is just terrific. And I'm so pleased to be here today with you, but with the Justice family as well. So Kathy said that we met at volleyball, but we might have even met a little bit before that at AAU basketball, where our daughters were playing against each other. And that's when Charlie and I realized that Jim and Kathy are the best parents. They care about the youth of West Virginia. They have the energy and the passion to try to not just compete well, but to grow and to make strong that next generation of West Virginian. So I'm really pleased to be here with them. You know, I've been able to work with Jim now as he's been governor for 6 years, where I've been up in the Senate. We've worked on economic development. We've worked on the COVID response together. We worked on broadband deployment. We've really, I think, made a good pair. We're really going to make a good pair up in Washington. So I think that, thanks. You know, all of us in West Virginia, I think, we rightly think and do believe that the world revolves around us. But you know what? In 2024, during the election season, it is going to revolve around us. Because this is about taking back the majority in the United States Senate. This is about changing the agenda in Washington. It's about setting an agenda for working families, for educating our children, for going back to conservative values, for making sure that this country is on the right track. And Jim is going to be a great part of that and a great partner. So I'm really, really pleased to be here. Again, thank you all for everything you're done and are going to do to make sure this is successful. I'm going to do what I can do. And I can tell you one thing. As we look at the Senate majority, as we think about where we're headed, we cannot afford to keep going in this direction. Jim knows this. We know it in this room. The country knows it if you look at some of the polls that we see. And electing Jim to the United States Senate is going to be a giant, not a small step, a giant leap towards making that happen. So I'm very pleased and really honored that the governor would ask me to be here with him today. So I brought a friend with me today. Lindsey Graham doesn't need any introduction for you all. He's a great friend of mine. I served in the House with him. I've served in the Senate with him. He is a leader in foreign affairs. He's a leader in the budget. He's a leader in the conservative thought and movement that we see within our party and also across the country. So Lindsey, but you know what? He's a lot of fun too. We like fun people here in West Virginia as well. So he really he keeps you on your toes, and he will be doing that through this campaign, and he will be doing that as well as he throws his hat in the ring for Jim Justice for United States Senator. So please welcome my friend, he's not from the other Charleston, but he's kind of over there, from South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham.
Hey, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you. You have a great senator in Shelley Moore Capito, solid as a rock, just absolutely everything West Virginia needs, and we're down one in West Virginia, right? So this is the highlight of my life. I get to introduce Baby Dog. I've been with presidents, kings, and potentates, but I met Baby Dog, and Baby Dog's a winner. And Baby Dog's going to the Senate. Might as well take Jim and Kathy with her. Listen, I am so pleased. Why am I here? We need help in Washington. We need a winner. We need somebody that can win in a general election, a conservative who can move the ball forward in Washington, D.C. How many of you think Washington is in the wrong direction? If you don't, you're in the wrong room. So West Virginia has proven what does work, right? Jim Justice knows how to deliver for people he represents. He's done it in your state. If you like cutting taxes, he did it. If you like standing up for life, he's an unashamed pro-life conservative. We need his voice in Washington. He will protect your guns, and he's good with your wallet. The bottom line is we need some help, folks. As Shelley said, we can't stand this much longer. Somebody's got to give us some relief. This is the most radical agenda I've seen since I've been in Washington. Now, I've been there a while, right? One thing I like about Jim is that he does understand that money matters and people work hard for it, and you shouldn't waste it. He understands that the radical agenda that Chuck Schumer is pushing is not good for West Virginia. It's sure as hell not good for South Carolina or any place in the middle. This is the most radical group I've ever been around. They want to allow abortion up to the moment of birth, taxpayer funded. Jim Justice will be one less vote for that radical agenda. Every time I turn around, they're thinking another reason to take guns from lawful gun owners. And how about this? How about put people in jail who misuse guns? The soft on crime approach is not working. Joe Biden, if there was a plan to screw up America in 2.5 years, this would win. So my hope is that we end this nightmare in 2024. We'd made mistakes in 2022. We didn't nominate maybe the right person for the state in which they were running. I promise you, Jim Justice is the right person for West Virginia. I say that without animosity. I have seen up close and personal what happens when the other side is in charge. Remember Kavanaugh? They will do anything to maintain power. This is a tough fight in Washington, D.C. right now. We need somebody who's always reliable, that you never have to worry about, that Schumer is not going to hoodwink. We need somebody who is solid, somebody who's well-grounded, understands that the conservative way is the right way for the nation as a whole. If you love your country, and I know you do, then you got a chance in West Virginia to change America. I would say this, in the history of West Virginia, you've never had a better chance to make America get back on the right track than you do right now. Why am I here? I know Jim. I like Jim. I think he'd be a great senator. I'm here because I'm worried. Are you worried? You ought to be worried. You ought to be hopeful, too. Everything they're doing, we can stop. We can turn this country around. We got to take back the United States Senate, keep the House, and elect a Republican president. Speaking of Trump, somebody asked, what happened with you and Trump? You know, we got off to a rocky start. I was pretty hard on him. I was one of 16 people that ran for president. If you don't remember that, it's really not your fault because I didn't last that long. I think I'm the only guy with a T-shirt for my own campaign. But what happened? When Trump won, I said, okay, I accept the result of the people. I got to know him, and we found common ground. You know, I came to like him, and he likes him. The first 9 is why I like him. The back 9 is why he likes him. But he's running, and he is going to be hard to handle. He had a record we should all be proud of. Jim got on board early. Jim jumped on the Trump train because he understood that President Trump delivered for the country. So when President Trump, and I think it's going to be him, I hope it is, but whoever the Republican president is, they're going to need a United States Senate they can work with, all right? When they nominate judges, I hope I'm in charge or Senator Grassley's in charge of the judiciary. Because we can process those conservative judges. When I was chairman, Shelley, we did 200 conservative judges and 3 Supreme Court justices. Don't tell me it doesn't matter who's in charge in Washington. It's not who you like and who you're friends with. It's about your country. And who runs that place matters. And this is the most radical group I've seen. So the road to the Republican majority runs through West Virginia. There is no way we take back the majority if we don't win here. Right? Don't have any pressure. The whole world is looking at you. The whole world is hoping you get it right this time. You know what? I believe you will. Because you got the best person that you could pick to lead the charge to take back the Senate. I like Baby Dog. Baby Dog's awesome. But Baby Dog's honor is really awesome. Now, what do I want? I want somebody that come to Washington from West Virginia who actually votes like West Virginia would like them to all the time. I would like somebody to come to Washington with a lot of common sense, who signed a paycheck, who understands that when people are struggling, government needs to help. And most of the time, government needs to just get out of the way. The West Virginia way is working. The Washington way is not working. So, but more than anything else, Shelley and I need a colleague that will help us row the boat together. If you got 2 people in a boat, and one's rowing one way and the other's rowing the other, you're going around in a circle. So we need people rowing the boat together. We need somebody that will be with Shelley Moore Capito all the time, not sometime, because she's figured out what's best for West Virginia. Folks, Jim doesn't have to do this. He's been a heck of a governor, got a great family and a wonderful dog. Why would you want to leave all this to come to Washington? Because he cares. He loves his country. He loves his state. To the people of West Virginia, you can do yourselves a lot of good by making this man the next United States Senator in 2024. You can do America a lot of good by making sure this madness in Washington ends. But the thing I'm most excited about is that in Jim Justice, you have somebody you can talk to and work with, just like Shelley. Somebody you can sit down with who doesn't mind working with a Democrat when it makes sense, and he doesn't mind fighting when he has to. And I think that's who I am. This is a big country with a lot of big ideas. We need people in the United States Senate worthy of a great country that can sit down and find ways to solve problems like you do every day here in West Virginia. When it comes to Jim Justice, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting a solid conservative, a leader, a problem solver, somebody you can trust to do right by West Virginia every day, every week, all the time, not just sometime. So it is my honor to be here. I came here because I wanted to. I came here because I think this is where I need to be, trying to help a man who is leaving a good life to do something really hard. This will not be easy. They're going to fight like tigers to hold on this seat. And you need to have Jim's back. You need to help him. You need to raise money for him. You need to knock on doors. You need to tell your family and friends to make sure they vote. If you don't have any friends, you need to go make some. Ladies and gentlemen, the task this man is about to embark on will not be easy. But he's the right man at the right time for West Virginia. And it's my honor to introduce to you Governor Jim Justice, the next senator from the great state of West Virginia.
Thank y'all in every way. Gosh. Okay, enough. Well, first of all, an unbelievable thanks. You know, Kathy, I think, introduced Shelley, you know, who is an incredible, well, okay. I know who always takes center stage. How'd you get in? Okay. Well, we'll move right along from that. But an unbelievable thanks to Senator Capito, an unbelievable thanks to Senator Graham. I mean, really and truly, they're superstars beyond belief. You see them all the time. They carry your values. They carry your torch. They run with it every day. Now, they've been really battling an uphill battle, have they not? And it is our chance. It is our chance right now. You know, if you look at the math and you look at everything and you look at, well, what happens if this doesn't happen in 2024? Can it happen in 2026? And the answer is probably no. Can it happen in 2028? And the answer is probably no again. Now just imagine this country on the pathway that we're on with the Biden administration today, and imagine this country as to what it would be if we continue on that pathway to 2030 or beyond. Now, I normally don't speak with any notes, but I truly, truly appreciate Kathy's introduction, and Shelley, what an incredible senator. And we claim you with all of our soul in West Virginia. Please give her an incredible round of applause. And think just a second about this. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham didn't have to come here. That's all there is to it. We see Lindsey Graham on TV and we think, my good Lord of living, that man is the man. And so, Senator, thank you so much. God bless you in every way. Keep doing all the great work you're doing. And we could not be any more proud to have these two great senators with us tonight. Now, let me just tell you this. First of all, I'm not into teasing anybody about anything. You know, I hate like crazy it's taken this long to make a decision, because really and truly you didn't deserve being teased, and you never have deserved being teased. Politicians do that all the time. I don't want to be that. With all this that said, you know, Amendment 2 took some time. Right behind that, the session took some time. You know, with all that, I want to tell you that tonight I am officially announcing my candidacy for the United States Senate, and I absolutely will promise you to God above that I will do the job, and I will do the job that will make you proud. God bless each and every one of you. Now, if I could just tell you 2 or 3 things, and I'll try to be as quick as I possibly can. If I could tell you just things about Jim. You know, I've never wanted anything. You know, our forefathers never wanted anything. In many situations, they lost their businesses or their farms or whatever it may be. Too many politicians today want something for them. And I've never wanted anything. For God's sakes of living, you know I'm different. Anybody that would hold up a Bulldogs behind to the camera to stay the state for Bette Midler absolutely will just about do anything. That's right, isn't it, baby? But along the way, if I could tell you about me, here's what I'd tell you. I'm hung up on the truth. I am hung up on being a patriot. I'm hung up on absolutely just the fact that just how good this great country is. I'm hung up on the things that absolutely you know that I stand for. I mean, for gosh sakes of living, you have seen it in action. This isn't somebody that's sitting here saying, I'll be this way. I've been this way. You've seen it. You've seen exactly where I stand for life. You've seen it where we have absolutely crafted laws against abortion in this state that are the toughest of the toughest. You've seen how I stand for our kids and education and your choice where your kid's going to go to school, your choice about absolutely how your kid is educated. Your choice about how children are, you know, how parents should participate in children's education. You have seen it. You have seen where I stand, you know, on the Second Amendment. Now look, I'm a hunter, and I've hunted and fished all my life, and you know that. But with all that being said and everything, I can tell you positively, now you may not like this, but I think you will. I have never seen a gun kill anybody, ever. I mean, you put a gun right there and you leave it alone, that gun's not going to kill anybody. But there's a heck of a lot of people that kill people. And we need to do something about the people component of it and not the gun component of it. And that's how I feel. So when it all's said and done, just look around. Look around. I don't know who came up with the idea about these crazy signs and all this kind of stuff and everything. We just had the biggest tax cut in the history of this state. Absolutely, you saw where I stood for local control versus Charleston control or D.C. control. You've seen it over and over and over. Exactly where I stand. Absolutely, I am you. and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of it. Now, with all that being said, we've got real challenges in front of us, do we not? Let's just stop just 1 second and talk just 1 second about President Biden and what's going on in that administration. I mean, could there possibly be anybody that has reason and logic about him that could say, we're going in the right path? I mean, you got a man, and I hate to say this because I am sad for him. If he were my dad, there's no way on earth that I could have him continue on as being our president. There's no way. Absolutely anybody that's shaking hands to air has got a real issue. Now, how in the world do you think we're perceived with our allies? I mean, look what happened in Afghanistan. Look what's going on at the border. Look what's going on with inflation. Look what's going on with energy. It's just all over the park. Well, we're going to have to do something about it. And we're going to have to elect somebody that has done it. My dad would say, son, you done it. Really, truly, at the end of the day, there's so many lessons from my dad's life that are so important to my foundation of who I am. You know, I can remember like it was yesterday, standing in front of my dad's desk, and you know, my dad played a little football for Purdue, wasn't a star by any stretch of the imagination, an aeronautical engineer. Literally came right out of college and went right into the Air Force and enlisted and everything and became, I think, a B-29 bomber pilot, a captain. Never told me a thing. I've asked him 10,000 times, never would tell me a thing about what happened in the war, what happened with his service, nothing. That generation, the greatest generation, we owe so much to them. But let me tell you something else. If you don't think we owe the military, then you got a real problem with me. Because I'll tell you wholeheartedly, every single thing you have, you owe to them. That's all there is to it. Now, and think about this. Could there be anything as dumb? Could there be anything as dumb in all the world as coming out and saying defund the police? I mean, could anybody in their right mind ever come up with a thought of such as that? We've got a real issue. Now, I don't mean to go on and on, but I want to just tell you just this, and this is from my heart. You see, I don't have a bunch of notes. I'm just speaking to you because of who you are and who I am. I'm speaking to you directly from my heart. Absolutely, if you'll go back to Jimmy Carter and just think about the United States of America at that time, the Soviet Union was dominating the world, and we were scared to death of them. Does it not sound familiar in many ways today? About China, about Russia? Does it sound familiar? All of a sudden, I think the Russians had invaded Afghanistan. We had 100 hostages in Iran, absolutely boycotting the Olympics. We had a grain embargo going on, gave away the Panama Canal. We had gas lines out to yin yang, everything in the world. And there was Jimmy Carter on the nightly news in a blue leisure suit, trying to tell us that everything was okay. And the Soviet Union was so powerful, it was unbelievable. And in a matter of just a very few years, along came Ronald Reagan, and the Soviet Union collapsed. Now, let me just tell you just this, and this is Jim Justice speaking from his heart. How do you have any guarantee that that can't happen to America? Literally, how do you have any guarantee that that can't happen to us? With all in me, I really believe that this country, and there's nothing in me that wants to traipse off to Washington. But I mean it. And my dad would say, son, if you know it and the good Lord knows it, it's all that matters. But I mean it when I tell you I'm a patriot. I mean it when I tell you that I love this country. And that's all there is to it. I meant it when I told you I didn't want anything as your governor. I meant it when I told you if we all would pull the rope together, and along the way, I became almost your COVID dad. This state didn't shut down. We made the right decisions. We made the right decisions to protect our counties and on and on and on. We read a lot of names, did we not? And I read every single one of them because I love you. I love you with all my soul. Now, I'm going to end by just saying just this. I'm a real believer that God always shows up. Maybe not on our timetable, but God always shows up. And if you don't see miracles, you're just not looking. Absolutely, with all in me, and I believe this with every fiber of my soul. Think about this. And I've got to tell you this story real quick because it's just that profound to me. You know, the other day, I was coaching my ball team and we lost. And I didn't like it. And the next morning, I went to my office. Remember what I said a minute ago about God always showing up? All of a sudden, you know, one of the people in my office comes through and hands me this letter and says, you may ought to look at this. And I picked it up and I looked on the envelope and it was from Matt Fitzwater. Matt Fitzwater played basketball for me 30 years ago. Matt Fitzwater, absolutely, I hadn't heard from Matt Fitzwater in 25 years. And there's the letter. And it starts off by saying, the other day I was on a run with my two sons. He said they got tired and they looked at me and said, Dad, can we stop and walk? And I said to them, keep sawing the wood, boys. Well, we went on and completed the run and they said to me, they said, Dad, what did that mean to keep sawing the wood? And he said, what it meant was if you continue to persevere and make steady progress, you'll come out and do well. He said, and then in the letter it said, the first time I ever heard you say that was when you were coaching us in the National AAU Sweet 16 game. And he said, at that time you told us that. We came out, and you know the rest of the story. We came out and won the game, and we were way behind and everything. And he said, but in that, we won lots and lots and lots of games. But your words and your wisdom and your messaging to us was worth way more than any game we ever won. Now remember, all of a sudden, God shows up. Now, the very next line of the thing said, while I was at Army Ranger School. Think about this. Here's an American hero. There's the letter. And he said, and on every deployment that I was on, military deployments, he said, I said to myself every day, keep sawing the wood. He said, I would say to you now in your last year and a half as governor, keep sawing the wood, sir. The people need you. I truly believe with all my soul that what we've done in this great state together is really meaningful. You know, we have turned our state from a state that a lot of people looked at the wrong way to being that diamond in the rough that a lot of people have missed. We did it with common sense, did we not? And don't you go to sleep, baby doll, because I'm almost done. But we did it because we worked hard, we believed in each other, and for God's sakes a living, we told each other the truth. This nation needs us as Republicans to win. So I'll leave you. I'll leave you tonight. I'll ask you to run right with me and absolutely run as we have so many times. Run through the finish line together. Pull the rope together. We'll do it. We'll do it. The last thing I'd leave you with is just one thing, And now I'd like to ask if my family would come out here, please. I want all of them to just stand right with me. I want to just tell you this one last thing. I hear them. It's hard to tell what's going to happen now, but y'all just take your time. All right. Here's Kathy.
Thank you all.
Daughter Jill. Granddaughter Collins. Grandson JC. Granddaughter Emmy Ruth. Son Jay. Daughter-in-law Catherine. Now this one is a hands full sitting over here. I'll promise you this. Her name's Conley. Hi, girl. And this is our son-in-law, Adam. Last thing I would tell you. Y'all come on out here. Come on. Come on over here, JC. This is a fisherman right here. But let me just tell you just this. There's a guy in South Carolina who was Jay's best friend. And he died very, very suddenly. His name's Tom Floyd. He's 63. It was, I think, on New Year's Eve. Is that correct? Or New Year's Eve. Just dropped over with a heart attack and was gone. Absolutely. For Coco, Nancy Caroline, and that great family and everything, we want to always tell them just how much we loved Big Tom and how much he meant to all of us. We'll never forget him. But with all that, he used to say all the time, any frog that's not proud of their own pond isn't much of a frog. Now just answer this and just know this for dadgum certain. This family, me, and even Baby Dog, we're dadgum proud of the United States of America, this great state, and absolutely you better dadgum always remember that. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for having us.